The One Piece live action was mid. And if anybody ever told you that they actually don't have a brain cell, you know, the anime side of One Piece who just like critique
every little mini detail and don't even give it a chance.
The One Piece live action, chat, I actually enjoyed the One Piece live action for a lot of reasons that people think are the reasons why this show is bad. You love or hate One Piece. There is no way that you can look at this masterpiece of a production and tell me otherwise that it wasn't basically done to
almost perfection.
Like, yeah, there were changes to the story, there were changes to the certain key moments. There were changes, but like, we're trying to fit an entire story arc into what, 8 episodes or all 1 hour into 8 hours of content? Do we know how long One Piece story arcs are? So of course not everything's gonna be the same, and of course they're not just gonna go, if they went page for page, pamphlet for pamphlet from what the actual like source material said, it wouldn't give the live action its own reason to love it, like how we have the anime and the manga. Like this is a live action with real people. Of course it's gonna have just a little bit of a flavor of its own. Maybe Oda literally coincided writing this too, so maybe these were some things that he wanted to do in like the actual anime or manga differently now. Like that could have been something. But this video, we're gonna be breaking down everything that's wrong with the One Piece live action. The first thing we're gonna talk about is everybody complaining that the characters weren't Asian, and I'm just gonna show you guys this. So if you actually like watch and pay attention to One Piece and actually like look at the SBSs and things like that and extra things Oda says, you would know that the Straw Hats are not all actually Asian. Frankie, American. Jinbei, I don't know what that flag is. Usopp, I think that's the Jamaican flag. Don't quote me on that. I think Sanji's obviously French. We literally, bro, his tags are literally French. There's no way you think that's Japanese or Asian or any other, like, you know. Zoro, obviously Japanese. I don't know what that flag is. Chopper's Canadian. Yeah, clearly you can see that the American, you can clearly see that American education can only get you so far with these flags and social studies and things like. The point I'm trying to make is that clearly the Straw Hats are not all actually Asian, which is why in the actual like story we see, or the live action, everyone is not the same. You can clearly tell from Zoro being Asian to everyone else that everyone's literally a different nationality. So for you to complain about it's just crazy, and it just shows that you can't even say that you're not caught up in One Piece, because you're just misinformed or just don't pay attention. Because like if you really truly pay attention, even in the anime, Zoro doesn't even like really look Asian. It's just, oh, people see. Let's see, I'm not racist. I'm quoting racist on this one. People see swords in an anime or just in general, someone using sword, like, oh, he's gotta have some like Asian in him or something, because like, you know, Japanese swords, like all those things. Like, let's just be honest. That's what people look at. That's what people think. I am not racist. Please don't cancel. But yeah, like, what are you complaining about? They're literally just, okay, be like me, all right? I want you to get your keyboard to type in Straw Hat nationalities, click on images. The first image that it'll give you will show you their nationalities. Not even just the Straw Hats, the Warlords, all different. Like, Oda has expanded his universe so much that he's like every little minuscule detail, everything matters. So stop complaining that the cast is not Asian. There's like a handful of people, like a strong community who plays Luffy in the live action. A lot of people don't like him. Usually, part of me just had to get used to hearing the way he says, or like just getting used to his mannerisms and the way he says gumbo gumbo, like that. It's not gonna sound right when you're not hearing it in like Japanese, just in general, because like that's just what we're so accustomed to, and it just sounds so good. So just hearing it in English and just like, it's something to get used to. But I just feel like if that is who Oda chose, and then like I actually thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, like that genuinely like makes sense. He actually played Luffy very good. So if you don't like him,
who else on this planet do you think could fulfill that role?
Because I genuinely don't think that there was going to be anyone close to that who was going to be able to play Luffy, right? And then Sanji, Zoro, Nami, Buggy, Garp, all these different characters were literally, the casting was like perfect. You could not ask for a better cast at all. Point blank period. Especially Mihawk. In my opinion, he honestly looks way better in the live action and had a way better introduction than he did in the anime, right? So now let's dive into some things and like major changes that like people just don't like, right? One of them was like Zoro's introduction. And like, guys, we know that it was actually stated Zoro did come in contact with Brokeworks and Crocodile was like trying to recruit him and things like that. So this makes sense to like showcase like, oh, like this is how what happened when they like actually met type of thing. So I'm like, yeah, it wasn't like right based off the source material,
but it's still accurate. They just changed the way he was introduced.
Another really big one was Luffy and Nami's first meeting. And one of the more bigger changes with this was that the fact that in the live action, Nami was introduced in Shellstown, but like in the anime, in the manga, Zoro was the only one that was introduced in Shellstown, which makes sense. Nami wasn't trying to steal the Grand Line map from the Shellstown base. It was a different Marine base in the Grand Line.
Not in the Grand Line, but a different Marine base who had the map of the Grand Line, right?
And if you really want to be like technical with this, when we talk about this whole like, oh, they're trying to fit so much content into 8 1-hour episodes, that would have had to been like a whole extra episode, which would have really been kind of unnecessary. Because like, I say unnecessary because there's a better way that the story can be told in the live action to keep it concise but yet still makes sense. Because the interaction that they had here was still good. She was still looked at as a thief. They still had that like dynamic of like,
Nami's not one friends, and just the whole like, oh, that part of your dumb crew, things like that.
So it kind of speeds up that part of just Luffy going straight to meeting Nami separate, so they can go straight from there to Sierra Village where Usopp was, right? So I don't see anything wrong with that. And chat, another major big one in this, a big one, but it was actually a good one, was Garp's role in the story. In the manga, right? Garp didn't play we didn't see him. He really didn't do anything until where we're at now in the manga, right? But in the live action, it gives his character so much more depth and just so much more meaning, because we see in the live action that his whole premise, his whole like reason that he was chasing Luffy right there was literally because he just didn't want him to end up like Roger and die. And that's why he was chasing him and just going after him for that whole entire period. Literally just gives him more, bro. We even got Bogard, who literally had said and did more. He literally said more words in the live action than times he's appeared in the manga. That's really tell you something. You know how we talk about so many different plots going on in One Piece? You got the revolutionaries, and then you got the celestial dragons, and then you got the Marines, the pirates, the worst generation, this, that, and the third. If this show ends up going on for longer than one season, which I really think it's going to be, especially with some leaks that we've been hearing, you know what I'm saying, around the Twitter space, that like it starts to build that multiple different plot lines of, oh, you got Garp's internal conflict in that plot line and this plot line and this, that, and third. So it's just like, and I can nitpick. That was just some of the biggest ones, and I can nitpick a lot about some big, some large things that were changed in the live action. But do I genuinely think that like the live action was bad? No. Just from watching it, what I could see what the goal was and how it was executed, I don't think they did a bad job at all, and I think they really, really executed and achieved what the One Piece live action was really supposed to represent, and how well they were able to condense this and still able to make it make sense, and not adding too much of like not changing too much and adding too much unnecessary stuff, was genuinely like good. Bro, no, the one last thing I want to talk about though, is Buggy and his role in this story. That was another complaint that we got, because Buggy in the live action was a lot more like dark. He still had a little bit of humor, but like it was more like the dark humor type. Whereas in the actual like story, it was more like funny and happy going. I like the way that they went with Buggy's character in this, because it wasn't as funny, but the subplot line with him and how the map was connected to him, the episode where they ended up getting caught by Buggy when the whole map thing was going about, Buggy's whole plot line in this, it just added it added another layer to the story. And Buggy's just whole plot line in this, it was just good. I don't understand how you could have an issue with it. I just don't. If you wanted to watch Romance Dawn, the anime version of it, if you wanted it page for page, text by text, like just the same thing, okay, fine. But if we know anything about recreating stories, you never just want to like copy it word for word, page for page, the exact same thing, or it just feels like just a waste. Because like why copy the entire thing when you're just making something? Like, why don't you want to just change this or change that or try this and try that? So many more different things that you can do with a story. It doesn't have to just be one thing. Maybe that's just me, how I like my stories. But the One Piece live action though, it was good. And if you say otherwise, I mean, I guess you're entitled to your opinion, but like, hey man, it is what it is, bro. But that's it for me. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I will see y'all You know what I'm saying? In the next video.